Hello, and welcome to this episode of Stage of the Game. Yay! Got
Yay,
the regular
we're
crew
back.
with us.
Yay!
I got myself, Jesse, and Tony.
Hey.
It's been 3 weeks at this point since our last episode. Sorry, shit happens.
I've lost all sense of time, to tell you the truth. No earthly idea.
Yeah, but good news.
Yes, we have a lot of good news.
Yes, good news for all of the people who were interested in our contest, which was not many of you.
Clearly.
Clearly. It's still going on. Yeah. We've extended
have more
the deadline
time.
because we literally got one submission. And we
No,
had some people
because
tell
we had so many submissions, we could hardly go through them. Throw your hat into the ring.
But yes. There's still time. Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
You'll have fun.
Seriously.
We had fun.
The majority of
Yeah,
us
so-
wrote ours within like a day. So.
Yeah.
You don't gotta think so hard.
Mm-mm.
But other good news.
Yeah?
Jesse.
Take it away. Don't make us brag for you, because we will.
I'm gonna go to grad school.
Hey!
Yay,
And
for-
where? For and where?
For graduate musical theater writing at NYU Tisch.
Yeah.
It means I will be even poorer, but it's pretty cool.
And it's all
I'm,
thanks to her Zelda play.
Her Zelda play.
It's 100% thanks to my Zelda play.
Mm-hmm.
This good fortune could be yours if you submit a 10-minute video game play to Stage of the Game.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. Let's make it very clear that there's no
Could.
guarantee.
But we're not saying that there isn't a chance. We're not saying how big that chance is. But the chance is
there.
real. The chance is real.
The chance is there.
Here I am. I am certain that they Googled me and saw that, and that is definitely the only reason. It's definitely the only thing I had going for me. I have no idea why they accepted me, guys. It makes no earthly sense. I was a lunatic at auditions. I was very odd.
That's probably why.
There you go. I certainly stood out.
Hey,
So,
we're not in this industry because we're normal. I mean, come on.
it's true.
It's because
It
these are
is.
the only people who will tolerate us.
Yep.
That's absolutely true. And I met so many wonderful people, because you find your people when you dive this far into like sheer nerdery.
Yeah, yeah.
There lie my people.
Nerdery. I like that word.
Point in it.
Sheer
But-
nerdery.
We do need to say something very... If we don't, we'll be very upset. Big shout out, happy birthday to both Steven Sondheim and Andrew Weber today. Yeah.
Woo, but especially Steven's time. Woo. I like Sondheim.
Yeah.
No.
Jesse and my sister Bridget actually celebrate Sondheim's birthday.
We do. Bridget's hand sewed me. She hand stitched me a Stephen Sondheim doll for my birthday many years ago. I wish he was here now, but he is in New Jersey. But he is beautiful. Now I can hug him. So yeah, the nerd.
That's some serious nerddom.
Yeah. Yeah.
We outdo ourselves. I just yes.
But in honor of both Jesse and to the greatest musical theater writers alive today, we're going to talk about writing in both theater and video games.
And we're
how
totally
important
not
it is.
stalling for time or anything.
Nope.
No, none. Zero.
But
So yeah.
yeah. I no idea how to get this started.
So Jesse, why do you write for theater?
I have no earthly idea. It's not even like a, oh god, it's not even like a decision I made. Or it was. Oh God, guys, I'm so tired today. Talking is hard. I just always knew that I wanted to, and so I did. Like, that was all that happened. I was in college when I started my first musical about Rachel Carson, and I have never been trained. Musical? God, you know too much, Owen. He knows too much. Of course it was. What else?
Nope. You need to tell the story now.
Okay, I have like even less information about how this musical happened. Our true first musical, which Owen knows because he was one of the many stars in it back in the wilds of New Jersey. It's Harold the Musical. I have no memories of writing it, like none, but we did film it, and then it was performed at Brandeis, the Leonard Bernstein Festival of the Creative Arts. It's about a man, who works in a town that never
outlawed
sings.
dancing. No.
Yes, it's really nobody sings. Everyone works, and they just sell business bears, which are teddy bears in suits, which tell you to work harder. And then he goes insane, and we follow his literal descent into madness. And that's the play. I don't like it. It's really fun. And I don't know how or why we made it, but we did. We did. It exists.
It does exist.
Look, I made a hat where there never was.
And
Maybe
probably never needed where there
shouldn't have
to
been
be
a hat. Why did we make this?
Oh. I'm sure it's not that bad.
If Owen wanted to be really cool, he should cut in a clip of him performing a song.
I wasn't in. I can throw in a clip of. I had a very small role.
Yeah, you did. you were in the play within the play.
Yeah.
Because it's that sort of.
So I can throw in one of Jared or.
It's actually my favorite part of the whole
Harold.
play. Yeah. Owen was part of the new hat players. Everything comes back to hats.
but yeah, kind of. we referenced that a lot.
Then she started writing musicals that she actually cared about.
Yes, and then the rest was history. But I will say, nobody ever told me to write, and I've never had any formal playwriting training at all. Like, not even a class. So, yeah, I just did it because I wanted to. And then I kept doing it, and I learned on the fly. And I'm still learning, and that's why I'm really excited to go to grad school for it. So now maybe there are secret rules that I should know about.
That I should maybe be following.
Since this has become the primary part of my theatrical endeavors, I should probably, know more about it.
Should probably learn a little.
I mean, it's amazing how people can just fall into writing. Someone I've worked with and has become a relatively very successful playwright. She got into writing because she used to be an actor, and when she was auditioning, she would write her own monologues, which is a no, not supposed to do that.
No.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, that is a little different.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but inevitably they would find, the directors would find out, so this isn't from anything, you clearly wrote this. She's like, yeah, it's actually really good, you should look into writing, but we're not going to hire you. So she started writing plays full time, and she's had done a lot of regional work.
Yes, that's
I'm
regional
going
work.
to go see one of her plays that I saw in Michigan. Morning After Grace is getting its New England premiere in May. I want to go see that. I can't remember where it's going. But
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Writing. Sometimes you fall into it.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have an idea that you run with. Is the other thing.
Sometimes you got something to say.
Yeah, That's basically what my writing's been forever. It's just, you know what, I'm gonna write this and see how it is. I also am a really bad at it because it comes in bursts. Like I'll be like, you know what, I want to write this, and then I write 3 scenes, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And then it's not finished forever. I have like 9 unfinished works.
Yeah, at one point in my life, I wanted to be a writer. I used to, God, I used to like to write poetry.
I
That's
think
okay.
I think we need to hear some of Owen's poetry.
Yes.
You don't.
Poetry.
We do.
Poetry.
I have to find it. And this is like,
We'll wait.
no. You know,
We will.
I will send it to you later, but I'm not taking.
Do you promise?
Yes.
Excellent. Cool. Can't wait.
I'd say post it to our Facebook page, but I can't do that anymore. Ha.
Yes, that's right.
I'm off Facebook for anyone who cares.
Yes, it's admirable, but I could never do it myself.
Yeah, I kind of regret it now because I'm like, I have so much shit tied up in Facebook. But I'm realizing every time I go on the internet, I'm like, I'm just gonna check Facebook. I'm like, right. I'm realizing how addicted I was to Facebook, so I'm like thinking maybe at least a break from it will do me some good. If nothing
Yeah, man.
else.
Do you ever like I'll be on Facebook and then I'll open a new window and go to Facebook again.
Facebook again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'll be on Facebook on my computer and then I'll pull up my phone to look at Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I'll wonder what I am
Yeah.
and how I got here.
But I'm still on social media through Twitter and Instagram. So
Instagram.
follow me on Twitter and see me post nothing. I'm trying to post more on Instagram, but I rarely post on Twitter.
I also try to post more on Instagram, but
Every once in a while, I'll have the drive for Instagram, and then be like, "Why do I care?" And I don't know why. Just Instagram as a whole, just not. I don't take enough pictures. Facebook, I do, and part of the reason I'm still there is because I live 2,000 miles away from my family, so.
legit.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, well. I when you went off, and actually, I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Oh wait, no, it kind of is. So,
I needed to advertise my plays.
Yeah,
Without it, what will I do? Call people?
Cold,
Talk to them in person?
cold call
What a
people to come
horrible
see your
nightmare that
play.
would be. That sounds like my literal nightmare. I just sent one of my plays to a theater called The Tank, and I love them. And my very favorite part of their place where they tell you how to submit your play is they say, we are only 3 people, and we're gonna get to your thing eventually, we promise. Don't call us. We're not phone people. We'll get back to you. And I was like, me too.
We're not phone people.
I was so relatable. You guys got it. You got me. Anyway, I love them. Also, they do cool plays. It's a teeny, tiny theater, but it's very cute.
Back to writing.
Yes!
Why? No, I'm kidding.
I feel like writing gets taken for granted for a lot in both theater and video games. Just theater, there are some big names out there like Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber and Lin-Manuel Miranda are very big, well-known writers in the musical theater scene, stuff like that. But aside from those few, a lot of major musicals, people won't be able to tell you who wrote them. They'll be tell you who acted in them and stuff like that. And who for most people, it's about the actors. It's about who is giving life to the role rather than who actually wrote the lines, and the dialogue and whatnot. People usually forget
it's a
that
bit
stuff.
invisible. Yes. Which I love about it, because I never ever wanted to be in any sort of public eye. That's my least favorite part of being in this biz. I say as I record myself musing on writings with my friends for you all to see. But I like to be behind the scenes, so it feels good and safe to be a writer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not safe.
No.
Yeah, I know nothing is safe about it.
Safe's probably not the
Say,
right word.
if there's something that's very critical, you're the writer, you're putting yourself in a very critical position of having your stuff submitted.
You're
And
right.
then
And it's scary. It's scary when people read your shit in front of you because sometimes it's terrible. And you didn't know you're
Sometimes
writing
it
a
is.
play. You don't know
Sometimes it's
until
not.
they read it back to you. It could look great on the page, and then you hear human voices on it, and it's like nonsense soup. And you're like, how did I arrive here? Where am I going? But that's part of the not fun, but the resiliency of it. You got to get back up. You got to try again. Make it better.
You've had so many good quotes tonight. Nonsense soup, but all that. This is
That's
very.
why she's a
This is
writer.
very.
Because I'm
Exactly.
delirious.
This is very much a writer's prerogative.
Oh, shucks, guys. This is just a pure raw Jesse because I slept 3 hours last night so that I could get back from Maryland in time to work at my job tonight, which I did. So everything was fine.
So you made it on time. That's all that matters.
But I've been awake for like 22 hours now, so you're going to get a lot of nonsense soup. But I'm happy to.
Some of the thing that I like about, I don't really understand, and that's probably not on purpose, but maybe subconsciously driven me away from writing, is how hands off it is. Just because I've been so hands on for a while, I worked with a playwright, Richard Hellison. If he's listening, hello. I doubt it, but hello. And I worked on a new work with him, one of his new works, and it was during tech, and he was there because he's the playwright, and it's a new work, and he should be there. He goes, "No one is more useless during a tech than a playwright." He's like, "I feel like I should just like come up and like knock on the dressing rooms. Anybody need anything? Coffee, a donut?" And at one point, I saw him walking with a couple of. Just during tech, I was a production manager, so I was off doing things, and he was walking with a cup with a few mugs of coffee, just like to get it for someone. I was like, you're the nicest man.
But it's super relatable too, because also, I mean, like we worked so much as like behind the scenes or like support people, production assistants. So yeah, when I'm in the room as a playwright, I'm like, should I set up the chairs? Do you want me to put on the coffee? And everyone's like, no, what do you mean? And then I'll be like, I can't do nothing.
Watch your play. Stop. What are you doing?
And I'm like, what do you mean?
We're
Somebody's got to set up the chairs. Why shouldn't it be me? I'm great at setting up chairs.
I've always said if I had $1 for every table and chair I set up, I would never have to set up another table or chair.
That's how I felt about cleaning toilets.
Relatable,
that is so much sadder.
And people think our profession is glamorous.
There's nothing glamorous about working in theater. Even as an actor,
Yeah.
it is
No, you're
painful,
constantly fighting.
it is a lot of emotion, and it is a lot of stress. There's no
Mhm.
glamour at all.
No.
Choose your profession wisely.
Yes.
We
no,
were
but I
not joking when
totally
we said we can't do anything else besides this.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've tried. It's,
Yeah.
But yes, let's talk about some of our favorite examples of writing in theater.
ooh.
We can
That's
talk about
tough.
plays or musicals, and obviously we all have very
Mhm.
good
Favorites and
favorites and stuff like that. I would probably have to go. My favorite play, my favorite. I'm gonna go, and this is strictly based on writing because I've never seen an actual production of this. So this is writing alone that I really enjoyed. Is Seascape by Edward Albee. To me, it's beautifully written. It's bizarre, but in the same way, it's so moving and tells like the story of like growing older and like relationships. And I don't know, it's like for the description that was given to me and why I wanted to read it was so it's about this like older couple that's sitting on the beach when these two lizards come out from the sea and start talking to them. I was like,
Sold.
yep, I'll read this. And then I read it, and it's so much more than
you
that.
had me
It's
at
so beautiful, and Edward Albee has such a way of like getting into your mind and like playing with your emotions. It's so good. I love it. I'd love to see a production of it done.
One day.
One day. But that's something that for me that I based on writing alone. I have never seen like portrayed by like an actor or anything like that. Never seen the visually or anything like that. This is literally the writing alone made me fall in love with it.
It's a good one. It's so hard to think about this because you read so many. But
amen.
I literally have to read 70 10-minute excerpts of new plays by the 13th of next month.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, why?
That sounds like way too many.
I've agreed to be a volunteer. I volunteered to take part in the reading of some of the submissions for our next Act New Play Festival.
I love doing that.
So,
Cap stage is so fun, but that's
yeah,
like a lot.
I have to read the synopsis and first 10 pages of dialogue for like 70 submissions.
That's crazy.
That's
many. We would do it by like tens, and so you'd get 10, and then if you finished them, you could request more. So nobody got overwhelmed.
We're given like a big chunk, but we're given like a little less than a month to get them done. Which is gonna suck when I'm in tech.
Yeah, oh my god.
I'm like, why did I agree to do this to myself? But I do like reading plays, so.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see what people make.
Especially New York's.
What people have to say.
I'm sure some of them will be terrible, but I'm sure some of them I will actually enjoy. So.
Yes. It's amazing how terrible plays can be. It truly is. Like, there is just some, like, shit-ass theater in this world. And I think it's because people don't really have something to say, and they try to say it anyway. Like, if I have to read or see one more play about, like, a straight white author who, like, has a girlfriend who's a bitch and, like, struggles to find love and happiness, I'm going to throw up, because who cares? And he's fine. Anyway. Rant over. I will say, of course, since it's his birthday, Stephen Sondheim is a constant source of inspiration for me. Nobody's as clever as he is. It's just fucking genius the way he plays with words and lyrics. And I think what I love about him most of all is that, like, his work is like a constant inspiration. Like, I've been listening to Sunny in the Park with George lately, the new Jake Gyllenhaal version, which I'm quite fond of. And it's
Jesse,
like whenever
I think you're rubbing up against your mic.
I'm rubbing against my mic.
Something.
I don't know where my mic is. Did I stop?
Is it on your headphones?
Probably.
Yes, you did stop.
It sounded like it was like beatbox.
It sounded like you were taking the mic and like rubbing it on something. It was like.
I will be more still.
Just go like, Are you hearing that? Is that me? Okay.
Didn't mean to interrupt your Stephen Sondheim rant. But yes,
don't worry,
we need to make sure that people can actually hear it.
Don't worry, I'll start again.
I do not mind beginning again. No, but especially in our profession, sometimes, we have those rough days where we feel like we're untalented, garbage people who made a lot of mistakes to arrive where we are. We all have those days. I had one very recently where you're like, woe is me. Just throw me in the trash pile. So work that continues to inspire you to make things, and lines in Sunny in the Park with George, like, anything you do, let it come from you, then it will be new. And you're like, you're right. I've nothing to say. You have many things. Well, nothing that's not been said by you, though. And then you're like, yeah. Like, things that get you going again. Stephen Sondheim is full of that shit. So, I love him because he's a constant inspiration to me. When I feel bad, I turn on some emotional jams, and then I keep going eventually. First I cry, then I keep going. Tony, who do you like to read?
It's weird. I like to see dramatic work, and I like to read funny work.
Interesting.
I don't know why, to tell you the truth. Playwrights. There's only a couple of playwrights that I've read out loud, or I've read and laughed out loud. One is Ken Ludwig. Lend Me a Tenor might be my favorite, which is kind of it's kind of cheesy because it's everyone's favorite because
Jesse's
very good.
brother loves Lend Me a Tenor.
It's very.
Doesn't Jared love Lend Me a Tenor?
He loves tenors. Maybe he does. Sometimes I,
like you
don't
told
know
me that
when
he
Jared
did,
talks
but-
to me. You're probably right then. It seems like it would be up his alley.
And Neil Simon makes me laugh out loud still to this day. As many times as I read it, I still find it very funny. And I'm trying to just flesh out, whatever. Why I enjoy reading comedies more. I think with tragedies, it's just I don't want to read about this because I can stop it. Once it's in the theater, once it's happening, I can't stop it, and it makes me feel. You're going to acknowledge this pain you're feeling, and you're gonna watch these people struggle through this. Damn it! So I will say that I'm searching for plays next year. I have a musical picked out for next year, and I'm searching for plays, and plays are really hard. And the ones I'm having trouble with are because plays are either tiny or huge, and I am right smack in the middle. And I need to find. I was like, I'm going to have this many people, and I need to find a play that actually has something for these people to do.
How many people?
15.
15. I have a play for 15 characters, Tony.
Is it the Viking one?
It's the Viking play. Actually, I was just working on cutting it down to 13 characters.
Does it have to be kid friendly?
Yes.
Damn.
I know.
The Viking.
That means like half of mine.
Although that being said, they actually did, when I wasn't here, they did a play that a teacher wrote. And it was very dark, in a good way. It was very dramatic. And I actually reached out to her and said, what do you think should be the successor to your play? Like, what do you think the next step is? And she said, The Laramie Project.
Ooh.
And I haven't read that since like freshman year of college. And I was like, you know what? I don't remember most of it. I remember the situation, but I don't remember most of the play. So I got a copy, and I was reading it around this time last week, and I'm sitting at my desk just like, oh, yep, nope, here comes some feels. And I was like, and that one I will say was very good to read, basically because they were real people, and they are real people. Most of them are still.
Yeah.
So,
I did a little creating theater from real events workshop with one of the writers on the Laramie Project, Lee Fondakowski, and she's really cool. And they did like an insane amount of research in that project. Like
they went out a lot.
Yeah.
They interviewed like 200 people, and the play itself is only like 85 pages long. So like,
that's
what?
Success.
It's ridiculous. And like the one that got me, and I actually put down the book and walked away. Like I took a walk around the school. They have the actual speech that the father gave one of the guys, and it's just I was like, nope. I'm going to put you down, and I'm going to walk away and come back. And there was only like 10 pages left in the script that could have just finished it. I was like, nope, I'm going to let that sink in and let me and let those feelings sit. And it might be in contention for next year. I've passed it on to my higher ups and said, hey, too dark. I said too dark and language is the other thing. There are there's a little bit of and by a little I mean like a half dozen, 6 or 7 uses of words that would be very offensive, and I think maturity wise the kids can handle it. I don't really know if I want them to have to handle it. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I also have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead on my desk right now.
Yes, way to love that play.
So
it'd be really challenging, but
mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan. The first time I saw it blew my fucking mind, and I saw it like 2 more times at Brandeis, like alone, like a weird theater stalker, where I just like needed to hear what they were saying again, and I didn't want to get the play. I just watched.
I tried reading that. Reading Tom Stoppard is not easy.
It's tough. Yeah, I
Oh
agree.
yeah, watch
So,
it. It's
yeah,
only
no,
two
I
watch.
want to see it, but I've never seen a production of because I really tried to read it and like I can't. It's really
I
weird.
could read it like after I had seen it, because then you're like, I remember this. Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
like this, and it's fun. But yeah, I feel you. It's hard to get into without it because you need that energy. Human
Yeah.
energy.
There's a few plays that like are really like they're hard to read. I don't know why because, but I tried reading Mr. Burns.
I was just gonna say Mr. Burns when you were saying some
Yeah.
plays are hard to read.
I tried.
That was a
I was
really
excited to read
challenging
it.
play to read.
Really hard to read.
Yeah, especially I got to Act 3 and I had no fucking clue what was going on. Like I had the score and I had the script and I was like, "What is this?" But I love that play. Watching it,
I've heard
it
that's the like,
staggers
you
me.
made me want to read it because you talked about how great it is, and I'm like, I'm going to read this, and
And it's nonsense soup. We're back to nonsense soup. It's super hard to understand, and because I read it too, it was part of the Cap Stage season, and I read it before it went up, and I had no idea what it was, what I was looking at. But then when I saw it, it was amazing, and I thought it was so brilliant and thoughtful. And I love
I've never
that
heard of
playwright.
it, so I'm intrigued.
It's super fun. Do you know The Simpsons? I mean, of course you know The Simpsons. You're a person alive in the world. But the playwright, Anne Washburn, it's Anne Washburn. She plays with the idea that, in an apocalypse, like, how does our culture change and what do you remember? So there's no TV, so you just tell stories. And it's about how, like, people are trying to just feel a little better by remembering an episode of The Simpsons. And then it jumps forward in time, and there are, like, little crews who are, like, performing episodes as entertainment because there's no TV. And the last act is 75 years in the future. And it's, like, this weird tribal opera version of that same episode of The Simpsons, and it is so weird and it's so good.
That sounds awesome.
I freaking love it. Also, I'm a big fan of The Simpsons, so.
Oh, so am I. Please.
it also got Jesse on the cover of American Theater Magazine.
Yes, they caught me hanging a curtain with my fellow apprentices. You could see me like on the side. I had no idea. I was literally shocked when that issue came out. They certainly did not ask me. But yeah, that's one of my major life accomplishments. I honestly should have retired after that. Like, I know when I peaked, guys. It was that. Good times. Yeah, God, I love that play. I think that Anne Washburn is so smart and is asking really good questions. But it's insane, and you're right. It's incomprehensible when you read it. I had no idea what was going on.
I'm gonna have to look it up then, because that sounds awesome. You guys are giving me play ideas. So
yes.
Not to do with the high schoolers, but
yes, probably not.
That would be so hard. Oh man, it's so hard, but it's so great. Oh man, but we had to build like this houseboat out of steel, and it was super heavy. And 2 unfortunate run crew people, including I believe Morgan from this podcast, had to like pull down the bottom of it on stage every show, and it weighed like 300 pounds. It was like, it was a challenge. The things we do for our art, friends.
Yeah.
Like iron another man's underwear. I didn't do that. I remember that was in college. I remember I was like, I want to do theater. I want to do theater. I want to do theater. I'm ironing this guy's underwear. Okay.
The price of my profession.
Exactly. So.
So I guess on that vein, guys, what's a video game that you think has excellent writing?
I'm gonna say like something that's like story. Like the story got me like, and I thought like really blew my mind was BioShock Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the story in that, and it. I don't know. It's really well done. The ending I didn't see coming at all, and I don't know, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah. It's always nice. Because stories are like really what pull me into video games, which is why my pick would obviously be Dragon Age, which has great lore and fantastic fucking characters. But I will also take a moment. This is the only time I will give this game a shout out. But I will take a moment to give a shout out to Undertale, because the story is the only part I like about it. Not the action, not the graphics, but the story is intricate and emotional and very well laid out in ways that like shocked me and made me need to know what happened next, which forced me to keep playing this game, which I did not enjoy.
I didn't like it, but it made me play it.
But I had to because the story was very good. So kudos.
Maybe just because I just beat it. I actually really liked the story of Subnautica, and I think it was pretty good because you didn't interact with other characters. I think the fact that they created a story around being alone on a ocean world, an alien ocean world, I thought it was pretty cool. And of course, basically anything Bethesda does has a decent enough story to get you invested in it.
Rumor is they're gonna drop a new game at E3.
That comes around every year. That rumor comes around every year. So
a new game that's not gonna be like a remaster or like reboot or something. Because they just did a conference where they're talking about 2 IPs that they are just finishing up. One is almost done. One is in pre-production. So
there you go. There was talk of them doing basically Fallout but in space. Which would be kind of cool.
They can't do a new Fallout game before they do Elder Scrolls 6. I will be so pissed. As much as I love Fallout, Elder Scrolls 6 needs to come before the next Fallout. That's how it fucking works.
Come on. Yeah, no, I agree. But still, either way, pretty cool.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
and there's a couple. I mean,
writing for video games has gone up so much in the past like few years. I mean, the budget for video games has gone up as well, and that like the writing talent they've gotten has gone up as well. Mm-hmm. Games like, and these are games I've not played, but like The Last of Us is supposed to be amazing in terms of writing. Everything that Telltale does, it's pretty much like what you do. It's a story-based game. It's a pick and choose your own adventure thing, but it's people will say it's not really a video game. It's more like a visual novel kind of thing. But the writing in it is like writing isn't what makes these games so great. Like with that, Life is Strange. That's a game I've actually played. Really, really good. So writing is become such a much bigger thing in video game world. People will say, video game companies will say like, "Oh, single player story driven games aren't the future of video games. It's all about multiplayer games where you can microtransaction the shit out of them." But people like.
Yeah.
All the Game of the Year winners are all these great games with amazing stories, single player narratives. That's what gamers really love. That's what got us into gaming in the first place, usually, because that's what games used to be. And so writing another thing that takes. Yeah, I doubt any of us could name a writer for a video game off the top of our heads.
No.
Cannot think of one.
Not a single one, unfortunately.
It's not even worth like thinking about because I know I don't know any.
Exactly. I know the answer is no, so why am I trying?
Yeah. As underappreciated as it is in theater, it's really underappreciated.
Way worse, yeah.
People will tell you about the graphics, the gameplay, and all that shit. But the writing is also super important. And shout out to all the writers out there who
Amen.
Know.
Who put up with our crap.
Yes.
Truth. Well put.
Yeah.
But yeah, writers, we appreciate your work.
We do. We promise.
Keep making things. Keep making weird hats.
It's all about hats.
Yeah. Did you see Owen's cool hat today, podcast viewers? Check it out.
Dope hat.
Fuck yeah.
And all the proceeds from it went towards March for Our Lives.
Yay.
Yeah. Specially made by this man here.
Can't see it. Who did? There we go. Ah, yeah.
Oh,
Postcard.
yeah.
Some people get autographed ones. I was sad that mine wasn't, but whatever. It's okay.
At least you got his face.
Yeah. But at least I'll be at the March for Our Lives this Saturday. I know it's not a political podcast, but
You
But
can
also-
guess
It's my
our
podcast.
politics
I do what I
pretty
want.
easy. We support the party that doesn't want to destroy the arts. I mean, like, surprise.
That's actually a thing. Today I was reading this. Every federally funded arts organization or most got budget increases, but none got budget cuts
That's good.
in the proposed budget that passed the House and is probably going to pass the Senate,
Nice.
Sounds very nice.
which is really cool. So it will still go to the dumpster fire for signing. So there's still that hurdle because he wanted to get rid
But
of
he's very
6 of
dumb.
them.
Perhaps he won't notice.
That's what everybody is saying. Just
He
put
just
it in
likes to
front of
write
him.
his name on shit.
Exactly. But that's a really good thing. I was reading. I
be
was reading
great,
that this
yeah.
morning and said yes. So,
Yay! Good news from Tony.
so look, actual funding. I think what sold a lot of the one particular party is that one of the organizations pitched and said there are a lot of veterans who find comfort in these arts, and they're like, you know what? Okay.
Republicans being reasonable.
What a novel concept. That
What
hasn't
do you
happened since
mean?
Lincoln. And that was a little mean, but it is what it is. So, but that's a
I could say much more about politics,
Yeah,
but
so
I
could
shall
I.
seal my face.
Owen's like, please don't.
Writers, we like writers. Keep making new things. I like new work. I want to see all your hats. I want to see all the stories that you keep inside of yourselves.
So, yes.
And have the chance to win the Steam gift card.
Yes.
So, yes. Please
Plus,
do submit.
We want to see it.
We still have time.
Do it.
We don't have a
Jared
set
Fields,
deadline.
means you. Finish your play, Jared Fields.
We don't have a set deadline at this point. We just are looking for submissions at this point. So when we get like enough submissions that we feel like, okay,
We can actually gauge these.
yeah, there's actually a little bit of competition, then yeah, we will pick the best one and we'll bring them on, read it.
Woo.
Woo. So yeah, get your submissions in. Thank you guys for sticking with us so much, and keep writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Make those hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, thank you all, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Maybe, I don't know. I go into tech next week, so maybe not. But
And
we'll
I go into tech the week after, so.
I think that I'm available.
It might just be Jesse.
Hey,
Yeah, solo.
I will come alone and talk to you.
Do a politics one. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, friend.